evening. Welcome to Mangard Rovers. My name's Sean. I'm joined with Phil, and we're going to bring
How
you
do?
our Premier League predictions for game week 16. But we'll just quickly mention about coming off the back of the Champions League this week. Another good performance from Arsenal, Phil.
Yeah, it was, like I said, they were in the private best goal of the season competition. Madueke Martinelli. So Martinelli made a bit of history for us and makeshift defence kept a clean sheet, which is nice. So yeah, back to winning ways. So yeah, it was a nice, comfortable midweek enjoyment without any real pressure. So it was nice, but not quite so simple for your boys in the end, unfortunately.
Oh, goal down, bring it back 2-1, and concede late on. Yeah, overall performance was okay. It wasn't bad. Was hoping for a point. We got a point. Should have been 3 points. Should have been, but yeah, is
Still
what it
looking
is. Move
pretty
on to
healthy
the
though,
next
aren't
one.
they?
You know, sorry.
Pretty healthy. And all six English. I think I said to you before. Now I think all six English teams will qualify. They're all
Yeah.
they're all sat pretty comfortably, aren't they? I think the lowest ranked team is Chelsea in 12th or 13th. So we're all looking like we're going to coast into whether it's the playoffs or the automatic to the play or whatever. But they're all going to get through the group stage, which is all that matters for we all want that anyway, don't we? Whether you support teams or not, it helps the English quotient for next year. So
That
it's
does, yeah.
um it's not
Well,
a bad thing. So
you mentioned Chelsea there, and it's Chelsea that kicked the weekend off this weekend. Home to Everton. I've gone for a 2-1 Chelsea win on this one. What about yourself, Phil?
yeah, that's
Um,
brave. I think that is. I was looking at this earlier today and really torn. And obviously Everton had a couple of really good results recently, and Chelsea, are looking to regain a bit of momentum. Obviously, they let it slip again early this week in the Champions League, so they're coming off the back of two or three bad results there. After what was looking, if you listen to Chelsea fans, they were about to fly to the stars and win the championship easy. Win the Premiership easy after they
yeah,
managed to draw with Arsenal. Oof, what an amazing result! Yeah, so the Chelsea are a bit of dodgy bit of form. They're at home. I think Cole Palmer is fit, isn't he? So whether they choose to, this is the game to bring him back and try and light a bit of fire on him, I don't know. But I mean, Everton are going to fancy their chances because they've been playing really, really well, and they're never going to be easy to beat. So I mean, this is one of those games again where kind of anything could happen, to be honest. And it's a tough one to call. Obviously, Chelsea with home field advantage, but I don't think it'll be easy for Chelsea. So I'm going to go Chelsea 1, Everton 1. I'm going for draw.
yeah. I mean, yeah, you've touched on most things there, but yeah, I do agree with you. I did fancy Everton at first when I thought about it, and I just thought Chelsea are that inconsistent. They'll lose two. They have just lost two, and they'll probably win this weekend because that's the kind of where Chelsea we've been
Down
this
season,
season,
haven't it?
just up and down.
I
You've
just
mentioned,
wonder whether we've said before they struggle on the games where we think they're the gimmies. Do you know what I mean? The games
yeah,
where they've really got to get themselves up. It does really seem symptomatic of their young players. They get themselves up for the big games. It's almost like this: I'm going to prove I'm a worthwhile player, and I'm going to prove how good I am. And then the games that they should, for a top four team, should be reasonably straightforward. They seem to struggle to get the level up. So I just wonder whether this is one of those they might look at. I know Everton are sat in fifth, which Liverpool fans are all devastated about, but I just don't think. I just think it might be one of those where Chelsea just struggle to get themselves up for, and they might underestimate Everton a bit, maybe. But I genuinely could see any one of the three results happening in that game,
yeah.
and
To be
none of
fair,
them would surprise me. Um,
I won't
so
be surprised either way. But yeah, I've gone for a Chelsea win. You've gone for a draw. Let's see what happens. Liverpool at home to Brighton. Uh,
there's
big
no
dog
easy
on this
games
one,
this
isn't it?
week.
No,
There's a
there's
few
really not.
toughies this weekend, and we've said a few times. And it sounds a bit repetitive, don't we? That Brighton have created chances in every game they've played in this season. Whether they won or lost, they've created a lot of chances, and the games tend to come down to whether they take those chances. And obviously, Liverpool looked a lot more solid against Madrid. It was a really great. Sorry, not Madrid. They didn't have Madrid this week, did I? Sorry, Inter. Madrid's wrong competitor of ours. Looked really solid against Inter, to be fair, and looked really well organised. They still didn't show a great deal of threat going forward, but they looked far better at the
At the
back
back,
in
they
terms of
did, yeah.
controlling the threat from Inter. It didn't really feel like they were going to ever concede. In particular, there's a couple of spots, but you would expect that in a Champions League game against another top eight team. So um, they look more organised. Can they carry that through? Obviously, there's the big hoo ha about what will they do with Mo Salah. Like I said on Monday, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they don't give him the chance to say goodbye. It seems like that might well be the case. They might be choosing not to use him and let him miss out on the chance of goodbye, which feels really sad. But I do just wonder whether with Liverpool, sometimes they're a very emotionally charged club, and that emotion can go one of two ways if they do that. Do you know what I mean? Like you could have a really dour and dismal atmosphere with fans feeling like they're missing out and saying goodbye to him. They think he's going to leave. It could be interesting to see how that atmosphere goes. Brighton won't pay hide nor heed to it. You know what I mean? That they're going to play. Like I said, they always create chances. So I do think it's a really interesting one to call, particularly where my Liverpool's recent form at Anfield, where mm, I keep siding with Liverpool, don't I? And they keep letting me down. But I'm going to go Brighton 2, Liverpool 1.
Well,
I'm going to go for a
I'm gonna go
Brighton
for the
win.
Desmond on this one. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
2-2.
I guess another one where none of the results would surprise me,
No,
and it's going to be fascinating to watch. Oh, well, I'm not sure we can watch. Can we? It's a 3 o'clock
yeah, it's
kickoff.
3 o'clock. Yeah,
Um, so it's going to be fascinating to see what happens because genuinely there's all kinds of subplots going on in that game as well, ignoring before you even get to the point of Liverpool's sticky patch they're in at the moment. So yeah, anything could happen, but I'm yeah got to place my flag somewhere. So with a Brighton 2-1 win.
one apiece for me on that one then. Yeah, could go anywhere. Burnley at home to Fulham, 5:30. Um, I fancy Fulham. I don't- I'm gonna go 2-1 Fulham. I just can't see Burnley ending this struggle really.
Yeah,
They played all right against us last weekend. To be fair, even though they were down to 10 men, they played really well. Um, it were a comfortable win for us in the end, but yeah, I just don't see much hope for Burnley now.
I
And
think they look
Fulham,
they look like they've been found out a bit, don't they? They look
yeah,
like the kind of teams that have figured them out now, and it's almost like they don't have a plan B. That's always the big test for teams, isn't it? Like the first early games when no one really knows quite how you're going to play and how you're going to set up, and then teams start to get copies of the tapes and they figure it out. And unless you've got a secondary plan, and as then you start to struggle as the season goes on. It looks a little bit like that for Burnley at the minute. Do they have it? I don't know whether it's Scott Parker or whether it's more they don't have the players to execute a plan B, and therefore they're just struggling to get through it. But for me, Fulham's performances have looked strong all season this season, and they've looked really good. Obviously, it's phenomenal. You know, I say phenomenal performance, if not result against Manchester City to score four
yeah,
against Manchester City and get themselves back into that game. So they'll fancy their chances to go there and score goals. And I just fancy Fulham to probably be too strong for Burnley. So I'm going to say Fulham 2, Burnley nil.
yeah. I've got the 2-1 on that one. Interesting one, 'cause like I say, Fulham have been playing well. A couple of games of this season that I've seen where they've lost and played really well against your boys, played well against us. Um, so yeah,
They've been getting performances even when they've not been getting results, and I think I just don't think Burnley will be able to go toe to toe with them for 90 minutes.
no. Well, it'd be a bit easier for your boys, I think, this weekend at home
Oh, we
against.
got a charity game.
You've got the charity game, so it's. Where do you start with this one? You boys have been looking quality. A really good win in
So
Champions League. Where do you start with this one?
yeah, I was thinking conservatively that it might take us 2 minutes to score a goal and 30 seconds to reset. So what would that make the score over 90 minutes? But I thought once I got to the 40s, that might seem a bit too much even for me as a diehard Arsenal fan. To be fair, um, I also think that you'll see very much what you saw against Club Brugge on Tuesday night for Arsenal, Wednesday night, where you're going to see a lot of players rested. I think these he did it at Brugge because he didn't need to worry about it. I think you'll see exactly the same thing this weekend. I think he'll take the chance to give Declan Rice effectively a week and a half off. He'll take the chance to have Saka on the bench. He'll take a chance to have why rush players but like Saliba back and Trossard back. When you don't, I think you'll find they give Jesus minutes just to get him, minutes into his legs. So I think you'll see a very, very changed Arsenal lineup in that game. I think that Wolves will do what Wolves have done all season, which is they'll show no teeth, no fight. They'll probably have 20 minutes where they're in Wolves. I know I take the mick out of them a lot on the channel, but I don't like to think of them as a bad side because they've been a really, really good side over the last 10 years,
Yeah, yeah,
um, and really just suffered from either poor decisions or poor finances from the ownership or poor reinvestment of funds. You can't constantly sell your best players and expect to keep being at the level that Nuno had them at when they were probably at their Premiership peak. And I just think they just at the minute now the players they've got, they can make it rough and tumble for a team for, like I said, 20, 25 minutes of a match and look like they're right in it. And then they just fade and they look like a championship team or they look like less than that. I mean, obviously, you'd like to think for their fans' perspective, they're going to be pumped for it. You're not going to want to get embarrassed against Arsenal. And you want to show that you should be a Premiership player, and this is your chance to show it against the current top of the league team, and certainly one of the top teams in the league. Would expect. So you'd like to think for Wolves you're going to see more fight. I just can't see it. The way Arsenal control games this season, even if they're playing the second string lineup, I just think Arsenal have far too much control. They'll just grind Wolves down with pressure. And I do think it's a case of how many. I genuinely do. I think it doesn't matter who we play. I think you're gonna. If I was Mikel Arteta, I'd be rubbing my hands together, be going right. Gabriel Jesus, who's got 30 minutes into his boots on Wednesday night in Europe, and now he's going to face Wolves, and what he needs is a goal for confidence. And same for Gyökeres, needs a goal for. I wouldn't be shocked to see them both. I wouldn't be shocked to see Jesus coming off the left, Madueke on the right, and Gyökeres up front, and just see a completely changed front three and go, brilliant boys, just go at them and get some goals and get some confidence. See probably midfield of, again, he probably let Odegaard get some minutes into his legs, but we'll probably just go Marino and Norgard in midfield. And probably a completely changed back four just to put the second string on, Lewis Skelly, Ben White, probably Hincapié, maybe Timber, maybe not even bother with Timber. Norgard played central defence, but I think he might take the chance to rest Supermendy if he can, because you look at when the chances to rest these players are, and this is looking at Wolves' form. This has got it written all over it to rest the players. So I do think that's what you'll see from Arsenal. I think you won't see much from Wolves. Go conservative. I think Arsenal 4-0.
4-0.
4-0. Go
4-0.
4-0. I'm tempted to go for 3, but let's put a bit of brash Arsenal hat on and go for 4.
Yeah, I was going to go 4-0.
Oh, brilliant! I've screwed you in the way process too.
Yeah, and I could go 4-1, but I can't see Wolves scoring. There's no chance Wolves are going to score. They look beaten
I'd
before they've
like to
even
think
kicked a ball, don't they?
Raya's a safe bet. Raya's a
Yeah,
safe fantasy football bet this
he,
week.
he really is.
If he even plays him, he might even take the chance to rest Raya and play Aretha Balaga. I don't even know.
Might do.
It wouldn't.
He
That
might
wouldn't
do.
shock me. So what are you going for? Are
I
you
have
gonna
to go.
stick to your gut, or are you gonna play the game?
I kind of want to play the game. I'm going to go 3 then. I'll go 3-0. I'll go 3-0.
I tell you what, if it's 3-0 in the 89th minute, I'll be screaming at the telly.
So yeah, I just
I might even be screaming for Wolves to score, just anybody to score, just to stop you having the
just stop the
points.
point. Tactical sacrifice. Oh,
Absolutely.
brilliant. We'll see. Well, yeah, I think it'll be too comfortable for you guys. I can't see Wolves scoring. They look beaten before they've even kicked the ball, as I just said, and just yeah, your boys are a different class compared to Wolves. So yeah, moving on to
There's a
Sunday,
big
we've
gap.
got you what? Sorry.
There's a big, and I don't mean between Arsenal and Wolves. I mean probably if you take probably the top 8 to 10 teams. If you then compare how Wolves are playing this season, there's a massive, massive
Massive.
gap,
They've got no
and I just
Premier League
don't see where.
experience in there, though, have they now? I don't think there's anyone with any experience in there.
The sad thing for Wolves fans is you just can't see a way of them bridging that gap, and it's not even like they're sat on a shit ton of money that says in January they can get a few loan players in and turn it around. So,
I
like
do
we said
worry for
before, I think
Wolves because
it's
if
a
they drop
long,
into Championship, they're going to get eaten up,
it's going to
aren't
be
they?
a long season for Wolves. At the minute, that what they need to focus on is not taking Derby's record, because at the minute they look nailed on to take
Uh,
Derby's record,
Nobody wants that record.
and that would be a horror show for them.
Yeah. Sunday, Palace against Man City, 2 o'clock kickoff. Um, Tasty one, I
Palace, isn't
guess.
it?
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna go 2-1 Man City. I think Palace will make it really tough for City. Um, City starting to look good. Had a really good win this week in Champions League.
They did, but I mean, as of while we're filming this, I think Palace are 3-0 up, or they were 3-0 up when we started filming. So, Palace had a great result in Europe too.
Mm,
Obviously, City have had 2 extra days of rest. 2 extra days? Did they play Wednesday or no? They played Wednesday, didn't
yeah,
they? Get this right. I can't remember who played when,
can't
but
remember.
they
It's been a lot of
played
football.
Wednesday. So either way, City have got extra rest in the legs, but they are away. Nobody likes going to Selhurst Park. It's not a fun place to go. It's tight ground that won't suit Manchester City. The atmosphere doesn't suit Manchester City.
No.
Particularly some of the way, again, some of their more recent players necessarily again have struggled to get it together for these games. I won't say get up for, because I think Pep motivates them in the right way, but I think get it together for these games at times. But Foden looks frightening form. Doku looks frightening form. Haaland's just Haaland, isn't he? I mean, he just
Yeah.
lives in frightening form mode forever. Um, he's just what he is, isn't it? Like, the man's just a
He's a
machine.
beast. He's an animal.
It's difficult. 'Cause I want to think the best of Palace. I think Palace have got, that obviously we know their structure. We know they're well set in defence. But I mean, City just at the moment seem to be in such a great vein of form these last few weeks. And obviously they'll have seen what Arsenal have done, so that they'll have whatever happens, they'll have the bit between their teeth. They'll either be looking and going, right, we can go top if we win, or they'll be looking going, right, well, we need to win to maintain the 2 point gap. So they're going to, whatever happens, they're going to be motivated to to,
Yeah.
to go out and all guns blazing. So I, Palace are really well on, but I do think Palace are going to struggle to stop them. So what did you say?
2-1
2-1.
City.
Irritating. That's irritating, Sean. Thank you very much for that. I mean, you done to me what I just did to you.
That's why I got you going
So as
first
much
this time.
as much as I love Palace, and I genuinely love, I love what Palace are doing, and I like the way they're organised as a club. I just think City will probably have too much, and in the interest of playing the game, Palace won, Manchester City 3.
I thought you were going to go 1-0 Palace then. No, it
I like what
suits.
Palace are doing. I just don't think they'll hold Man City. And Man City's form right now, the form those front, if you, and there's more, but I mean the form those front three are in,
Especially
just
now
seems
Foden's ticking.
irresistible. Yeah, it seems irresistible at the minute. And if he play, and he's going to go, he's going to play a strong lineup because obviously Palace did it. Obviously, sort of they watched Palace do Liverpool in the Community Shield. Didn't Palace? Who did Palace beat for the FA Cup? Was it City?
Villa. No, Villa. Big Villa, I think.
Was it Villa? But I think they did. I don't know. I just think he's going to go full strength. But Palace are too dangerous not to. Um, but I do think City will have too much. So
What about Forest at home to Spurs? Another 2 o'clock kickoff Sunday. There's a lot of kickoffs at 2 on Sunday. 4.
another difficult game to call, isn't it? Like, again, Forest have had a good result tonight. They've won 2-1. Obviously, went ahead, then got clawed back, and then found a way to get the winner in the last 10 minutes. Spurs, which Spurs are arriving? Shitty Spurs of most of the season, or the Spurs of the last 2 games. The last 2 games, they look really good. But this is Spurs all over, isn't it? Fits and starts. No one's ever questioned that when the Spurs team all click and fire together, they can compete with anybody. I mean, you've beaten Man City, you've shown you can beat anybody. But by the same token, you're just as likely to capitulate. And well, let's face it, Spurs are one of the only 2 clubs who have lost a point to Wolves. So
Yeah.
anything's possible from Spurs, and same with Forest. Really, in terms of, I'd sit here all night and wax lyrical about how Sean Dyche has got them drilled and got them organised and got them moving forward. And then they went and lost 3-0 the other day, didn't they? So 4-0, was it, whichever one it was, 3 or 4-0. So it's one of them where you could see anything happening. And Spurs have been good on the road. Uh, Again, and they've had a little bit more rest than Nottingham Forest. They've had the extra time with their feet up. As much as it pains me, I'm going to say Tottenham 2, Forest 1.
I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to go 2-1 Forest.
I hope so. I hope you're right. But I just, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I'm caught in that battle of liking Thomas Frank and disliking Spurs. So, but I just
Yeah.
think maybe Spurs will have too much based on
Yeah.
their away form this season.
Yeah. Strange away form for Spurs, aren't they? Yeah.
Well, they hate their own stadium, don't they? They shit in their own stadium, and they're all right when they're travelling on the road. So it's because it's when they're travelling on the road, it's the only way their fans can afford to go to the matches. So it's maybe that
Yeah, it's
helps them
about
out.
right. Talking of
Right.
fans, we've got the derby this weekend. We're away at Sunderland.
Oh, go big or go home. This is can you show your face in the northeast for the next 6 months? This one. Oof.
Yeah, Can't wait to watch
Have
it.
you
It's,
worked out which colour stripes you're wearing yet? Because you've been proper torn this season, aren't you? You're not quite sure who you should be supporting.
we're daft. We're daft. I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win for my boys, Newcastle, not Sunderland. I've been impressed with
It's
Sunderland
at
this year.
Sunderland, right? I mean, I know they're next to each other, but is it at Sunderland?
Yeah, it's at Sunderland. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Stadium I
You're
liked.
going
Stadium
2-1
I
to your
enjoyed.
way.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Newcastle. Yeah. I just think it's gonna be rocking. It's gonna be a mental game. Sunderland obviously have been really impressive this season. They've started off. They've been an example to everyone else that gets promoted. We've said many
I
times.
certainly have.
Um, been really impressive. They brought some experience in the window. Yeah, but I think we're slowly starting to tick now, and I think this is a game that'll just take us to the next level. I think as inconsistencies are starting to level out a little bit. We're playing, starting to play football again. We've got a bit of identity back, especially in the last couple of games. I know the results haven't quite gone our way, but we just seem to be playing a certain way again, which is nice to see. Nice to see Lewis Miley coming on Champions League. He's doing really well. Got himself a quality goal, so it'd be interesting to see if he gets a couple of minutes at the weekend as well. But yeah, I just think it's going to be a fiery game. I think there'll be a lot of yellow cards. There'll be a lot of could be a couple of red cards, to be fair. Could finish 10 men and could finish 10 apiece with 10 men. So who knows? It's going to be fiery. But I'm
Might be
backing my
higher
boys to
the
win.
score might be higher than the head count.
Really, yeah. But yeah, I've got to back my boys, and obviously I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle.
Well, I'm going to partly play the game and I'm going to partly follow my heart because I love what Sunderland done this season. I think they've shown amazing character. Like you said, they've bought really well. As an Arsenal fan, I've got a massive, massive soft spot for Granit Xhaka. It's brilliant to
Yeah.
see him back in the Premier League
And he's
and
been quality
ticking.
this season.
Um, yeah, absolutely. You know, he looks great. I think you know that it's at their place, and we've said a few times they've turned that place into an absolute fortress. Um, and then two completely nonsensical points, really. Number one, we all know that cats eat magpies. Um, and number two, we all know that Arsenal are better than Newcastle. So if Sunderland can get 2-2 out of Arsenal, then I'm following the 10-year-old logic that if Arsenal are better than Newcastle and Sunderland can draw with Arsenal and Sunderland can beat Newcastle. So that's what I'm going with. I'm gonna go with that. And I'm gonna say it's an absolute fire fest. Crazy challenges, crazy battles, crazy atmosphere. I mean, I tell you what, that's got to be the hottest ticket in town this weekend. I'd love to be at that game. And I'm going to say that Sunderland score their third goal in the 93rd minute to win the game 3-2. Sunderland 3, Newcastle 2, 93rd minute, Isidore.
Are you trying to cause a right in the northeast? Because if that's what'll happen.
What a game and you watch it, it'll be a dull 0-0 draw now with not a single booking and not a single chance. But that's the game I'm wishing for. Not because of you. I do like to try and support you and Nathan's teams, but I absolutely love what Sunderland are doing this season, and I think part of me likes the story and the romance of it in terms of I like the fact that those 7 players of Sunderland have come out and said, "Look, we're going to stay and we're going to play the derby." They could all
Yeah.
have chosen to bugger off to Afcon a couple of days earlier. No one would have blamed them really. They'd have been frustrated, but they wouldn't have blamed them. I like that kind of
It shows what it took
togetherness
for the
they've got
club to
there,
make
and
it.
the spirit that the manager's brought into the team. Which, like you said, they've signed a lot of players. So the fact he's brought that, he's managed to get that cohesive team spirit together with all those signings coming in is, I think, real credit to what he's doing up there. And there's nothing against your boys. I do like the way Newcastle play football, but I, I've got to follow my. I'd love I would like to see Sunderland winning, just because I think it's an amazing story for all those naysayers. Um, all those naysayers at the start of the season who were saying this gap between the Premiership and Championship was ridiculous now, and it's just like that. And even, I think we were talking about the start of the season. So much of what happened last season with those three going straight back down was just due to the fact they were stubborn. They refused to be pragmatic and they refused to approach the game in a way of focusing on 17th spot. Whereas I think Sunderland have got a clear game plan as to how to survive in the Premier League, and they're currently executing it really well. So I'm going to go with Sunderland. Um, Sunderland 3, Newcastle 2. But it's going to be. I really hope we just get the game we want it to be.
Yeah.
Um, Anything, please don't give us a 0-0. As much as last weekend pained me, I do think the Arsenal Villa match was an amazing advert for the Premier League. In terms of, it was almost like old school, like late 90s, early 2000s football. That's what I want to see more of. As much as the irony being that my manager is one of these system managers that caused the problem. Um, it's nice to see a Firefest fight game in it. So
Yeah. lots of bullying going on. Let's see. Um,
Mm.
yeah, moving on from that, then we've got West Ham at home to Villa. Tough one for West Ham. This one after Villa's recent performances, obviously played really well against you boys. Excellent game that last week, to be fair. West Ham stuttering a little bit again. Can't seem to
They're
get
on a
pin.
journey to recovery, aren't they?
Yeah,
They're on a journey to recovery. We've said that there's a couple of teams, them, Forest, who were both kind of Leeds, who were both kind of on a generally upward trajectory from last season or from the start of this season. But it's going to be a rocky road, and I do think it's challenging for them. Um, really challenging for them because Villa are in an unbelievable vein of form right now, and just seem to be finding the answers to every problem. Um, it'll be interesting to see at some point when's Unai Emery gonna try and rotate a little bit. He's got players come back from injury, which helps him with the different
yeah,
options. But then we talked about that with the Arsenal defence a couple of weeks ago about it's not about the job, it's not about quality because the players have got the quality. It's about cohesion, isn't it? And then those connections and playing in partnerships. So does that disrupt some of the flow there in a minute? That and at the minute players like McGinn and Cash seem to be inspired. Where you might have thought they were going to be left behind and bit part players this season. So as much as I'm desperately wanting a West Ham win. Vic, from an Arsenal point of view, would love it, but I can't see West Ham stopping Villa. Um, can't see it. So for me, maybe Jared Bowen or Soucek pop up because they always seem to pop up with a bloody goal, don't they? But West Ham 1, Villa 3 for me.
I'm gonna go West Ham 1, Villa 2. I think, yeah, I think you're right. I think Emery will rotate a little bit. I think he needs to, obviously. I just think they'll be too strong for West Ham. I just don't. Last couple of matches I've seen West Ham, I haven't been too impressed. They seem to be a bit. I know Nuno's just got in there, but they just look to be just not getting out of second
I
gear.
don't think they've got. I don't think they've got enough to break through. When you look at that again, when you go back to like the kind of the top 5 or 6 teams, as you probably list them in your head. I don't think West Ham have got the guile to break down those defences enough to while also stopping those structured attacks. So not yet, anyway. They're certainly building towards it, but I don't think they're there yet. And I think
Yeah,
Villa are in a really really good vein of form. So.
yeah. I mean, West Ham's biggest that's probably going down that wing, and possible chance of a counter attack. The transition pretty quickly, but other than that, like I say, I think Villa are too strong in defence, and I think they'll just it won't be too comfortable, but I think Villa will win this 2-1. Brentford at home against Leeds. Leeds have been playing cracky the last couple of weeks. Had some great results, and Brentford have been scoring a lot of goals as well. So this could be a tasty one at 4:30 on Sunday. What do you want for this one, Phil?
Well, what I want versus what I'm going to get probably ain't the same thing, is it? And I think Reece, you're probably not going to like what I've got to say tonight, to be honest. Leeds have had a phenomenal 3 games. They've got but you do sometimes think where does that leave you as a emotionally? You know what I mean? It's been such a set of emotional highs and lows. The Chelsea, the Liverpool, and the Man City games, like they've had the full gambit of emotions. 3 games where they've been going full bore, hammer and tongs for the full 95, 97 minutes. It takes it out of you, I think. They don't like, they've had the benefit that they've not travelled far for any of those games. Obviously, 2 of them were Ellen Road, and nipping across to Manchester City. Well, that's 2 minutes of a job, and it probably had time to go to Trafford Centre shopping while they were there. But whereas they've not travelled well to London this season at all. Do you know what I mean? They really don't like going that far south. Not for a football match anyway. We're all right if we're invading, but it's not if we're playing football. So I think I just and I think Brentford. We know Brentford's story this season. Do you know what I mean? We all thought they were going to suffer after the transfer window. Phenomenal organisation and team spirit again, and they've said a few times in interviews their players that their number one task is to make that home ground an absolute fortress that people terrified of going there. They'll be strong. They'll be structured. It will be about set pieces and long throws. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Just to be clear, as much as Arsenal got critiqued for it as well, at the end of the day, it's part of the game. And it's about scoring goals. At the end of the day, the score sheet doesn't say it was 1-0 to a set piece; it says it was 1-0. So Doesn't matter how you score them, you just got to score them. So um, I I think Brentford will be in the trenches and very well organised. And I don't think Leeds travel very well to London. So as much as I love what Leeds have done over these past 2 or 3 weeks, and I do think they're in a much better place in terms of psychologically, I think they'll come out of those games with an absolute bounce of confidence. So I do just wonder emotionally what that takes out of you. You've had to get yourself up for those three massive games, and again you're going, oh, it's subconsciously potentially a little bit like, well, it's just only Brentford now, boys, and do you potentially subconsciously end up taking your foot off the pedal because you don't think you have to raise your level so high because it's only Brentford, but it's not one of those top teams. You know what I mean? They'll have been absolutely pumped for those 3 games, and will they just subconsciously think this is a not quite as challenging? Now, they shouldn't think that, and they are professional footballers, but people are people, and human beings are human beings. I think Brentford will have too much for Leeds, and I think Brentford will take it 2-0.
2-0.
2-0.
I think Leeds will carry a bit of this momentum on me. I think I think it's going to be another fiery game. I think two apiece. I think Brentford are good at home. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm going to give them benefit of doubt. They've been really impressive last couple of weeks. If they can carry that momentum through to this weekend, they could potentially get a point. So I'm going to go for the old Desmond on this one. Go 2-2. Um,
I like to see Desi back in the house.
yeah, he's getting thrown about a lot recently, isn't he? Yeah, plenty of football over the weekend, and then it ends with Monday night on. Well, may as well call it Monday. Man United, Man United at home again Monday night against Bournemouth,
Is that the third Monday night football they've been on?
and I think they're doing it again next weekend. I think they
Someone's
yeah.
someone's pushing for some new marketing directive for Man United, aren't
Oh. So yeah, that's 8 o'clock Monday. Bournemouth again. Semenyo's in my fantasy football team, and he just doesn't seem to be firing at the minute, and neither do Bournemouth. A lot of their form is based about round how good his individual performance has been. And I just don't. I haven't seen it in the last couple of weeks. But it's Man United, and you know what Man United are like, inconsistent. Well, but I think those will be too strong. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Man United win. By
they?
yourself.
Bournemouth have not been in a great place these last few weeks, have they?
No, they really
I
aren't.
don't know what it is. I don't know what it is because you're right. Semenyo is a real spark of inspiration for him, which is why so many of the top teams are looking at what he can do and where he might fit. But by the same token, Iriel is a great coach. He's gotten really well drilled, so it's he's not necessarily with Semenyo's drop off. It's not necessarily a surprise to see their goal output drop off, but I think it has been surprising to see the games they've conceded a few goals in because a bit like Palace, I kind of view Bournemouth as they're really well organised, really well drilled. Whether they score or not, do you know what I mean? They're difficult to score against, but it hasn't seemed like that in the last few weeks in some of those results. And Man United, it's Man United, isn't it? Oh, fucking hell, anything could happen with Man United. Like they need to make the most of it. They need to make the most of this game because I think I was saying to you, like if you look at their, obviously they had the charity match last week and they beat Wolves. But if you actually look at their right side, their whole right side in that match is going to AFCON. So Buemo, Ahmad, Mazraoui, they're all gone come after this match, which I know I always enjoy a bit of Mark Goldbridge. He's great for laughing. He's nearly as charismatic as we are. But um, do you know what I mean? Like, but he's terrified of your boys in Villa because they play both of you while all their players are at AFCON. Do you know what I mean? And you can see those games being annihilations the way you and Villa are playing. But I don't think Bournemouth are in that place. And I do think the lads who are going to Afcon will want to have a good performance. And they do tend to be the better performers. Buemo, Ahmad, and Mazraoui have all been pretty consistent. Like any player, they have a bad game here and there, but they've all been pretty consistent since they either joined in Buemo's case or Ahmad and Mazraoui were both excellent last season in what was not an excellent season for them. Um, uh, so they've got a lot of spice down that right hand side. Um, and as I said, Bournemouth are not in a great place, are they? But it is at Bournemouth, so it's difficult, isn't it? Difficult. Sooner or later, Semenyo's got to spark back into life again, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna. you're too close. You've taken the score I wanted, which is a real shame. So I'm gonna flip it,
Sorry.
change my score, change my result, and I'm gonna roll Desi out for the weekend for the Monday night football as well. I'm gonna go Bournemouth 2, Man United 2.
It's an
Um,
interesting game.
should
Yeah,
be. I mean, it's. I mean, if nothing else, last week, even on Monday, even with it being the Wolves match, like Man United being Man United, it made it a good watch. You know what I mean? When we thought they let Wolves back into it at half time, suddenly you've got some jeopardy in a game that should have been a walkover. And I do think there'll be a lot of spice in it.
I can
I
almost
just,
guarantee the result by taking Semenyo out my fantasy football team. Because you know what'll happen?
oh, you finally quit on him, have you?
No,
You
I
finally
haven't. But
giving him
I'm
up.
just saying, if I take him out,
All right,
you know what's going to happen?
he'll get
He's
hat
gonna
trick.
bag two in it.
Yeah, it could be that way. It could be, and likewise, I've said 2-2. I could just as easily see Man United winning 3-2. I just can't quite bring myself to back Man United to score 3 goals against an organised team. Although some of the football against Wolves, I don't know if you saw the Mason Mount goal, but that pass from Bruno
Oh, quality,
Fernandes,
wasn't
as much as I mean, the pass from Bruno Fernandes was almost as enjoyable as the chants from the Wolves fans that were the Bruno Fernandes, you look like a rat, that you could clearly hear on Sky Sports, and they didn't edit out in any way, shape, or form. I'm not sure which one of those two things is more enjoyable. Um, but Bruno's one of there's certain players in there that if they're in your team, you love them because they're disruptive, and if they're
Yeah,
not in your team, you just love to hate them. And he is one of those players. You just love to hate him because he's irritating as hell, and yet you'll leave the ground talking about some bloody worldy pass that he played, despite the fact he's pissed you off for 87 minutes by just being a dickhead. So I just can't bring myself to think Man United will score 3 against Bournemouth. So I'm going to stick with my Desmond. But I do again. It's another one. I think there's probably at least 6 of the matches this weekend. You wouldn't be shocked by any of the 3 results, and I think
no,
we touched on Monday. It's why we love the Premier League. There's so many of those games you just can't call, or you can't reliably call. So, 'cause obviously we're here to try and call them out. But yeah, I'll stick to my Desmond, and I'll accept the fact that anything might happen.
well, we hopefully will. Well, it might still be. I'm on my live on Monday, so you'll be able to hear the groans in the background. Oh, when Semenyo's back two and I've taken him out of my team.
Stay
Yeah,
loyal, then. You've only got to keep it for a
I,
few more days
yeah, I'm gonna do. There's 5 transfers now. You get five transfers because of AFCON.
because of AFCON.
So
Well, I'll tell you now. I'll give you because I know you're a bit of a stalker anyway, so you'll spot it yourself. But I'll tell you now, Mr. Fernandez has made it into my team after last weekend
is there?
in place. Well, because Mbeumo's going to AFCON, isn't he? So I was like, well, do you know what? Fernandez, like I said, because he's annoying, because he takes the penalties, because he takes the free kicks, because he takes the corners, he's annoyingly consistent when it comes to assists, despite the fact I don't think Man United play very good football at the minute. Um, they're going to score somewhere. So I've taken a punt and put Bruno instead of Mbeumo. I can't bring myself to have more than one Man United player because they're absolute gash this season, but I'm happy to take the risk by having one of them in there. But
Yeah, it's a good shout. I mean, to be fair, I'm gonna have a good look at mine this weekend and see if I can take my top spot back since I've been knocked off it. Um,
well, like you say, at the minute, it's a case of looking at the sort of the few places above you in it, and almost anyone who's the same, just trying to find a way to transfer them out, just so you've got that points differential.
yeah,
Otherwise, we're all just cloning each other's results. I think I said to you the other week, was it the early kickoff when Haaland had scored? You literally see everyone who had Haaland was on 34 points, and everybody else was on like 2, and
yeah,
you're like, all right, so now I can see every team that's got Haaland. There you all are. But you'd have to be insane to not just have Haaland as your captain every week in fantasy football. He's just too much of a machine, even when City are not playing well.
yeah. Well,
It's going to be
well,
interesting.
it's packed this weekend. There's a lot. I mean, there's so many good games this weekend. Like I said, take your pick, especially on Sunday. I know obviously what my pick is, but for everyone else, Villa, Newcastle,
Well,
City,
it's an
all kick off.
interesting one for me because for once, there's absolutely zero chance of me telling you the Arsenal game is the match of choice because you know it should be a charity Money in the Bank match. That one.
I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see.
I say
Well,
that every week, though, don't I? To be fair, you got to believe. You got to believe in your team. So
well, well. think that's everything for this weekend. We're back on Monday to review our predictions and review everything that's happened over the weekend. So make sure you like and subscribe and hit
Mhm.
that notification bell. If you do want to be notified when we're next on, you can also join the fantasy football team league. Entry code's just going
Yeah,
across the bottom now. Make sure you do. It's
see if
quite
you can
close. It's competitive.
enhance.
So
See if you can enhance
yeah.
Sean's anxiety and push him down that league. He hates it. He hates it. Uh,
But yeah, yeah, I think that's it for us. If you've been watching, thank you very much. Shout out to Reese. Hope you've been watching. Phil, thanks again for joining. Have a great evening and catch you
will
for the
do.
weekend. Thanks for watching
Look
all.
forward to it.
Cheers,
Cheers,
guys.
guys.
Bye now.